Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Low Key Legends. We're gonna do things a little bit different today. Yeah, we're gonna mix it up. By mixing it up, I mean I'm going to talk about something else I'm doing. It is sponsored by Guild Gaming, so shout out to those guys. Also shout out to Ravage. We're out here with them, just doing our little mixing thing. But first of all, I just want to say for everyone who's supported the channel so far, just thank you very much. I really appreciate you guys, and continue to please like and share and comment. So I decided I wanted to do a stream, and as part of that, I have decided that I'm going to use some of these videos to give some background lore. I can't give too much of the sauce because my players will also be listening to this, so I can't tell any super plot points. Maybe when I do Twitch after sessions, I can do like a breakdown if that's something people will be interested in. So I can do like a, how'd the session go, what happened behind the screen kind of thing. Behind the screen instead of behind the scenes. Yeah, there we go. That's what I'll call it. There we go. So what is the game we're going to run? Well, if you notice, I have a pirate ship in front of me because it is a seafaring game that I'm calling Legends of Bahari. Bahari, which I'm like 70% sure I am pronouncing correctly, is Swahili for the word sea. There you go. Legends of the Sea, but Bahari just sounds cooler. So, Legends of Bahari is going to be a seafaring adventure, but because it is me, I had to turn that seafaring up to 11. So I pretty much waterworld the place. Yay. What does that mean? Okay, so imagine your standard kind of fantasy setting, very Fae Run-ish, and then all of a sudden the seas begin to rise and destroy. In my world, the seas not only started to flood out the land, but it carried a dark magic with it. And almost it was like the water itself was actively trying to consume the world and finish off as many people as possible. Now, with whatever powers they had left, the good deities surrendered pieces of their portfolio. If you're not sure what a portfolio is in D&D terms, or I don't know what coin, I'm gonna have to ask Mike, but I've used the term ever since we started playing. But portfolio is essentially the set of powers, domains that gods have. Pretty much, a portfolio of nature gives you power over nature and X amount of power. So essentially these gods surrendered their portfolios or pieces of their portfolios to a demigod who was like a seafaring entity. I cannot really more than that because it's going to be plot relevant. But this seafaring entity, which was like a demigod or that level of deity, essentially ascended and halted the cataclysm before it could completely wipe the world. So essentially imagine like the seas eventually rescinded, but not completely. So out of its normal landmass, imagine 70% of the world's landmass as it was gone in this moment. So now a world that is mostly water is now even more water. But not only that, it left over the darkness or the dark forces that tried to claim the world in essentially the format of what I just called the Dark Sea, the Tainted Sea, the Black Sea, and its waters are known to be terrifying. It's also going to be a world where the sea has so much magic and power in it that you are going to get, storms of magic. If anyone is familiar with the ghosts of Saltmarsh, some of their storms, like, Evocation Storm, Transmutation Storm, those kinds of things, I've kind of added those into this world just because I think the dark water kind of disrupted the balance of magic or mana, however you would like to call it, within this setting, which has kind of caused this to happen. Now, this demigod is now the mother of the sea. She is the primary or the strongest deity of a mostly seafaring world, as it would happen if you live by the sea, if the sea is the only thing around you. Obviously, a deity that resides over that would be the one you would worship. It has gained much strength. With her, she has a consort, or a god that has like kind of stepped below her, kind of like part of a follower, which is the god of storms, or called the Storm Father, because I name things really clever like. So, the Storm Father has essentially like a group of paladins, like just Storm Herald paladins, just smiting with lightning bolts and stuff like that, because I just thought it would be fun to do that. So now the main religion is the sea, and why it is also so powerful and so popular is because these dark seas are in the center. I'm going to have to procure a map. When I finish my map, you guys are going to have the best map. I'm going to post it. You guys can look at it. But imagine, if you will, scattered kind of bits of island, and then in the very center is almost like as if the sea had like a wound in it. It's kind of like what I imagined is like this congealed mass of dark sea. And in there, you can't navigate like normal. You can't sail like normal. The stars betray you. Any type of sextant or compass you use would not be useful in such a sea. But those who have been blessed with the Sea Mother, her priestesses, have the ability to navigate those dark seas. Why would anyone sail in them? Well, here's the thing. The space between in this area is much more vast than you can imagine. But there are times where you can cut across this sea and cut your trip by months and weeks, because time does not work the same. So a trip that would take you a few months sailing around, if you had the gull, if you had the stones, and you had a priestess, you could sail through the dark sea and essentially turn a sail that would cost you months into weeks. So some, are willing to pay to bear the journey. So I also have done a few homebrew rules in this world because of this. So there are spells. There are very few water spells. It was very easy for me to do. But the water spells in the 5th edition handbook also deal radiant damage now, because of the mother is the divine power of the sea. I have a few custom spells I have made as well, which I'll maybe post once I, word them properly. Like, I have them, and I have what they do, but it's not really worded nice. So, I'm not going to let you see, like, my jank spells. So, with that, most of the Pantheon is still around. I did, however, kill off a bunch of monster races, because I just didn't see them surviving in my mind. Which kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Like, goblins have been essentially reduced to nothing. Like, there's no goblins. I mean, not saying maybe there's like someone there somewhere who has a goblin, or a few big goblins, but goblins are no longer like the mass thing they are. My first thought was like, I'm gonna make my orcs Vikings, because why not? I want Viking orcs, so my orcs are Vikings. And the orcs, what they use is something called a blood compass, where they find someone who has the Sea Mother's gift, and they drain her into like a basin with a compass inside it, and that's how they navigate the dark waters. Pretty gruesome, but they're Vikings. So there you go. I also have already set aside like some of the powers of the sea. And of course there are pirates, because that's what we're pretty much doing, a pirate game. So of course there are pirates. So there are pirate lords. I made my own Tortuga, but of course I didn't call it Tortuga. I pretty much jacked it this name straight from a friend who was doing a game, and I was like, I'm going to use that name, and he said, go for it. And it's essentially called Harlot's Cove because, man, doesn't that sound like a pirate place to hang out? Harlot's Cove. So in Harlot's Cove, there are multiple powers of the sea. You have Edward Teach, because I just wanted a black beard, because, you know, he's a legend, right? That's not cool. That's cool. There's also a noble who's tied to, like, one of the royal families in the nations, which I could do in its own video. I will do all the nations in its own video. His name is Delamonte Conquista Ortega. Say that 3 times fast. Then I have Fong Sai Yuk. Did I really call him Fong Sai Yuk? Really? Just straight off the movie? You know what? There it is. Yeah, he's named Fong Sai Yuk. I just straight copied him straight from Jet Li's The Legend. Just realized I did that. Yep, but he's also called the Dragon of the Sea. We then have Mary Dolores, who's also tied to a royal family. I will talk about her, but she is called Crimson Mary because she is a pirate lord who only sails red flags, which I found out that if you sail a red flag during the age of piracy, you were literally saying, I take no prisoners. I kill everyone. You know, dead men tell no tales. So that's her. And there's something really cool about her that they will find out later about, you know, the whole Crimson Dolores. It's going to be great. Then we have a pirate who is just called the Drake. He is very much, in my mind, like Sir Francis Drake. Like, not just a pirate, but a, like, pirateer for a crown kind of deal. I definitely took some historical bits that I liked from the Age of Exploration and kind of incorporated them into this world. I just thought it would fit because there's still a part of them that they're looking for pieces and remnants of land. There are pieces they're robbing from each other. It's just kind of this whole game. So it's been around 900 years since the world flooded. Sea travel is now where things are done. The world is special and dangerous, but there are a few facts that always remain true. The dark waters and their currents, patches of the sea that have been corrupted by what everyone believes caused the flood. It is impossible to navigate these waters by normal means, and dark terrors lurk behind these waters. There are magical storms. The weave of magic has been disrupted by the flood. As a result, there are patches of untainted magic that can rain lightning, tradition, and necromancy. So here's a cool thing I did. Talking about necromancy, talking about the dead. So the Raven Queen, who you know ushers souls from the dead, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with her. And with this new seafaring world and how everyone is now dying in water and in the ocean at the ocean's mercy, I was like, yo, what if she made like a captain to help ferry souls from this tainted ocean to the afterlife? And then I was like, I just made Davy Jones. Davy Jones is a thing, and the Raven Queen is on her ship. So that's a thing I did. So I can't wait for them to see that, because she's just sailing. She's just sailing around with Davy Jones. So maybe I did 900 years. I thought 900 plus years would be like a solid thing. Elves in my world typically the oldest elves are like 1,000, maybe 11 to 1,200. Eldarin live for almost 2,000 years, and usually I don't know why I do that, but it's just what I do. So maybe even the oldest elves can remember what it was like. The goddess held back the tide so people can survive. So now the world has slowly started to go on. It's righted itself, and that is what Bahari will be as a whole. These players navigating their way through the dark seas, having high-speed adventures, digging for treasures, finding lost ruins, understanding what happened to the world, and bigger plots ahead. Can't really explain more than that. So, if you guys perk your interest in seafaring, the whole world lore thing, please can check us out. We will be doing it on Wednesdays when we start. We are in the final stages of pretty much setup. You can check us out at the Guild Gaming Facebook page and DM World 929. Either one of those will have information about Legends of Bahari, and we will have links to the Twitch account, which will be the DM World account that will hold the game. In the future, I'm going to do not only just a few more of these, but I'm also going to hop on Twitch myself and probably just do some like world building live, just so you can see what goes on in my head when I put something like this together, or how I take this mass of random thoughts and then somehow make it something coherent. It is not going to be a smooth process, though. My brain is like scrambled eggs. It's just kind of everywhere. And then when you keep flipping it over and over, it becomes something digestible. That's a really good analogy. I like that. Eggs. There we go. So, continue to like, continue to listen, continue to subscribe. And remember, guys, the quest never ends.